going. So we're sitting here on July 2nd, 2013 with Fiona White and Michelle Law and myself, Andrea Walliser. And we're going to be interviewing Fiona about her experience with the New Westminster waterfront and working and Jerry's work and her own work and all that kind of stuff. So we'll get started. Michelle and I realized that we didn't know what your background is. Are you from the New West area or the Lower Mainland? Or?
I'm originally from Scotland.
Oh, okay. Oh, right. I knew
here
that,
when
actually.
I was 12.
Mm-hmm.
We've lived in Surrey ever since.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We lived in New Westminster briefly, but mainly at Surrey's.
Yeah.
In our residence.
Right, right. And so what did you do for work growing up?
For BC Tel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, or TELUS as it's known now.
Right, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And so was that your kind of...
I worked there part-time and full-time, and that was my... I worked other jobs before, but I worked 25 years for TELUS. Yeah.
So that was kind of your career-spanning job?
That was my career.
And what did you do there?
I was a service representative.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So taking calls and...
Taking calls,
that kind of thing?
solving problems.
Yeah.
You know, back in the day when everybody had a hardwired set and, before mobility.
Right. Right, yeah. I was a customer service representative for a while, too. It's a hard job.
It got harder after. I think it was always hard, but it got harder afterwards when they started to mix in mobility and,
all kinds of different things, maybe a little more complicated or more things to go wrong.
I think. And then the company changed totally, too, once it became TELUS.
Right, right. And did you enjoy working there?
I did. I was lucky. I had a job I enjoyed.
That is lucky, yeah.
I was very lucky,
yeah. Yeah. Once you have a job that you don't enjoy, you realize how important that is.
Oh, and you should always have one of them first.
Yes, just so you know when you've got it good, I think. Absolutely, yeah. Yeah. So was it just the atmosphere there, or the company handled things well, or good coworkers?
When I worked for BC Tel, it was a really good company to work for, and I was really proud to work for them.
Right.
You know? Yeah.
Right.
They treated their employees. We had a union.
Yeah.
Let's face it.
Yeah.
The union treated us very well.
Oh, good. And what union would that have been?
The Telephone Workers Union.
Okay.
TWU. It's called.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. And so, how did you get in with BC Tel? What year did you start? And
I started in 1967, and then I quit in 1970 to have my daughter. Mm-hmm. I went back in 75. And I worked till 1998.
Oh, yeah?
And then I retired.
Okay.
I've been retired for a long time now.
Yeah. And are you enjoying it?
This is the best job ever.
Absolutely. I'm noticing lots of toys and stuff. You've got grandkids come through.
Oh, yeah. We've got 2 little boys, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. So to talk about Jerry's work a little bit on the waterfront, when did he start? I guess we'll talk about this with him as well. But when he started longshoring, did you already know him at that point?
No, he started in 1960, and I met him in 1964.
Okay.
We got married in 65.
Okay.
And at that point in time, he was then a member of the Longshoremen's Union.
Okay.
And he worked in New Westminster.
Right.
Yeah. So from there on in, I was Longshoreman's wife.
Yeah. So how did you guys meet? What's the meeting story?
We met on a blind date.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Set up by friends, or?
Set up by a friend, and we met the day before his birthday, December 19th. His birthday's December 20th.
Oh, yeah.
And we got married October 2nd the next year.
Oh, wow.
So it was pretty quick.
Moved quickly, yeah.
That was back in the day, though. Back in the day, you went from there to there. You didn't do...
Much more quickly, yeah.
Oh, yeah. You didn't do our parents would have had a heart attack. He was 23 and I was 22, so, we were young to get married, but in today's society, then it wasn't,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So what was
we're married 48 years now, so yeah.
So it moved pretty quickly. That's great.
Yeah.
So what was the dating experience like of dating Jerry, the young longshoreman?
He always had a great sense of humor, which I think is paramount if you've got you've got somebody with a sense of humor. You can live through anything. And he has really, really good moral compass. He just treats people really well, and how could you not like that?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, back in the day, you'd go out with them, and if he was fun at a party, then you married him.
Absolutely. Things are so simple then.
Then later on you found out, oh my God, he always leaves his socks on the floor.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Oh my. So then you said you became a longshoreman's wife. Was that kind of a station that
No, but
that
just,
you had,
just
or
saying
just-
that's when I got involved with
Right.
anything to do
with the work on the
longshoring.
waterfront? Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so did you and the other wives get to know each other at all? The other members' wives?
Most of our friends are wives of other longshoremen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Most of our long-term friends are, like Joni Lane.
Mm-hmm.
And, there's most of our friends are within the longshore
Community,
local.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. So would that have been your social scene kind of at the time?
Pretty
You
much.
hung out
Pretty
a
much,
lot?
yeah. There was probably about maybe 20 couples that hung around together, and then it kind of dwindles down over the years. And,
Mm-hmm.
there are a few people that we still keep in, that we've been friends with for over 40 years. So, yeah.
Right.
Did the Longshoremen's Union have banquets or picnics where you could get to
Yeah.
meet that?
Yeah, they did. They always had in August, and they still have. In August, they have a picnic for the families, and they usually rent all the all the rides and everything out at Cultus Lake.
Oh, yeah.
And in the early days, they provided all the food, all the ice, as much ice cream as the kids could eat, all the pop, whatever, and it was a very, very fun family thing. They always have a Christmas party for the kids.
Oh, yeah.
Up until they're 12, they get a gift every year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the kids are very much involved then?
Very much, yeah. It's very much a family,
A family union scene,
and
I guess,
a lot of the kids follow their dads into the union.
They do, yeah, absolutely.
Very much, sort of we've got lots of our relatives now that work there, started by Jerry,
Right,
Yeah.
right, yeah. So that was important to the union then to include
yeah.
all the family members in that
Oh,
kind
yeah,
of thing.
yeah.
And was the picnic and all the social things already a long-held tradition when you kind of came onto the scene in 65 or 64? That those were already on the go? Okay, so Michelle and I were actually just wondering whether the kids ever got to visit the Union Hall or the workplace, the waterfront at all? Or
Yeah. Jerry's taken them down, on occasion, any place that's sort of safe to go to, yeah.
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 That's great.
Yeah.
So do you think it's, I wonder if it's, in terms of having sons and I guess now daughters come into the union, I
My
wonder
niece
if
is
that's,
in there now.
Yeah, absolutely. I wonder if that's something that longshoremen, it's just part of the culture that they would, do you think that they want their kids to go into the union?
Oh, yeah.
And they
Because the union's treated them very well.
Yeah.
And there's not many industries that you can make that kind of money and have that kind of freedom that you have. That was one of the reasons I retired early, is that even though I'd been with the company for 25 years, I was still number 17 on a vacation list, so I could never get my first choice in vacation.
Right, yeah.
And that's important, where Jerry can say, okay, I'm off tomorrow.
Right, and just take his name off the board.
Yeah, and just, he's worked sort of in every facet of the industry, so depending on where he's working. In the early days, we couldn't do it so much because they didn't have the volume of work that they have now.
Mm-hmm.
And, sometimes there was 2 days work, and sometimes there was 7 days work. Well, it was never 7 days, because when we first got married, they didn't work Saturday afternoon and they didn't work Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
So, and there was no graveyard shift. It was like, it was a day shift and an afternoon shift. And so, it was different than what it is now. Now it's so busy that they could work, if they are stupid, they could work 7 days a week if they wanted.
Yeah. Did you see that affect Jerry, just maybe like inconsistency of getting work?
Never bothered him, because I always worked too. So,
I see.
it was necessary sometimes for me to be working as well.
Right, just in case there was not enough work at a given time for whatever reason.
Yeah. Now this is unusual, but when we moved out to Surrey and into a house, just for a rental place, and that particular week, he had half a day's work.
Oh, wow.
So, somebody that works 5 days a week and is always sure of that 5 days a week, that's great.
Yeah.
But that's why the wages are so high in comparison, because you just don't know.
Right. The work can be
It
uncertain.
could be 3 days. It could be 5 days. If it got slack, he'd go into Vancouver and work.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
Out of 500 or?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so they would, what they call wolfing. They'd go out there
Right.
and work. Yeah.
Right.
It was different than it is now, because my son-in-law works down there now, and he pretty much can just go to work anytime he wants to.
Yeah. Is he a member? Like a full
Not
member?
yet, no. He's still a casual.
Oh, yeah. And how long has he been doing that for?
He's down there probably 8 years,
Yeah.
and he probably has another at least 5 before he'll be a member.
Yeah, I have a friend, I was just telling Michelle, I have a friend, Tony, who works down there as well, and I think he's been doing it for 7 years, but no, he's not a member yet. And
No.
he said, well, yeah, probably another 3 or 5 years.
It depends, like they're taking a lot of new members in right now,
Mhm.
but now they've changed it so you don't have to retire at 65. So
Oh, right, okay.
so some of
Yeah.
these people who have worked all their lives are choosing to work longer.
Right.
I don't understand.
Oh my, yeah, and especially for such heavy work and physical work and that.
Physical work,
Yeah.
and as you get older, your vision's not as good, and you're working with people underneath you,
Yeah.
and it's dangerous.
So at the time, how long did it take Jerry to become a member?
5 years,
5 years,
Mhm.
okay.
yeah,
So it's extended out quite a bit
quite a bit.
since then.
Yeah, but even as a member, he got less work than what they get as casuals.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. What do you think accounted for that? Why was there so much less work then as
I
compared
don't know.
to
Maybe New Westminster was not as big a port, I guess, and
yeah.
Vancouver was the big one.
Right.
But once they put the coal port in, they put the West Shore in, that made a huge difference to the union,
Right.
to Local 502.
And so you felt that your being a wage earner as well definitely helped kind of alleviate some of the stress that might have come from the uncertainty of work.
Yeah, lots of the women didn't work. Lots of them didn't work, and they managed.
Right.
It just for us, that's the way we. But I got to clarify something. When I went back to work in 1970, I worked from 9 till 2:30
Oh,
Monday
yeah.
to Thursday.
Oh, wow.
That's not really working, right?
Still counts, yeah.
Part-time. Yeah.
Yeah. So if
No,
we,
that's a nice shift too for a young mom.
It was
And
perfect. That's what they started out with part-time people,
yeah.
and it was a fabulous, fabulous job. I worked that for a lot of years.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And did you find that was helpful in terms? Did you put your daughter into daycare, and were you able to get her off in the
I
morning?
was
and
very
there
lucky.
to-
My mother was an at-home mom, and if we needed daycare, then she did the daycare.
Right. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I
that
never
is lucky.
relied on daycare.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, but that's good, and to be off so early in the afternoon and have your
Well, especially
Day
once
ahead
they
of
went
you
to
and-
school, I
yeah.
could drop them off at school and pick them up after
them up.
school, and they never knew I wasn't at home.
right. No, that is great.
Yeah.
Did you ever worry about Jerry's safety, considering how dangerous the waterfront
Considering,
is?
yeah. Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah, especially dealing with such heavy machinery and,
I don't worry about him per se. I worried about somebody who might be working over top of him or operating some machinery around him. I never worried about him because he's very careful about stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, the uncertainty of, I guess, the other men on that. It's kind of like your parents say, "Oh, I'm not worried about you driving the car. I'm worried about everyone else on the road."
It's exactly the same. It's exactly the same. You don't worry about the person. You worry about the person that's using the equipment.
Right, and you're
Yeah.
not sure who that is or how good they are.
How
at
good
what
they
they're
are.
doing.
Yeah. They might be the worst driver in the.
And we've heard some of them say, "Oh, I didn't know how to drive the truck, but they just told me to get in and drive the truck, and I drove, so I drove it."
I know. That's basically what it was back then. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did other women who were married to longshoremen feel that sense of worry? Because
I can't say that. I think it was just something that we were all pretty much used to, and I think we just, you worry about it, but not every day. It's not something you worry because you couldn't.
Right. It's not in the front of your mind all the time.
No.
So are there things, I guess, that come with longshoring that you just kind of, that's part of the job and that kind of thing?
Yeah. When it wasn't busy, then he'd go down. He might go down in the morning and not get a job, and then he'd go down at 4:00 and see if he can get a job. And so that happened with lots of them.
Right. Yeah. And so he might be away for the evening, and
he might be. And when you're raising the kids, then if he's working afternoon shift, then it's your responsibility, and depending on what shifts he's working that.
Right. And was it sort of? Did you feel like it was? I guess you just would kind of rise to the challenge if he went to the evening shift. It was you doing dinner and getting the kids to bed and all of that kind of thing.
Oh yeah, it was your life, and sometimes I envied these people that worked Monday to Friday 9 to 5 because they knew when their weekends were there. And when my son was in hockey, I had to always get one of the fathers to tie up his skates because Jerry was always working on the weekends.
Right. Right.
So things like that, that is just things that you do, and you put your kids into different things, and that some of the time he'll be there and some of the times he won't. But if he's not there, it's because he's working.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you think that was hard on the kids? Just that inconsistency, not knowing maybe, Dad will come to hockey practice with me?
I don't think so. I don't think they were brought up with it, so I don't think they thought anything of it. We went to Disneyland like 12 times, so I don't think they really cared.
But it seems like, again, if you think about the kids that grow up in the lifestyle, I guess, of longshoring, it must seem just
that's normal,
the usual thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you'd think, especially being around other families, that it's
and,
the same to everyone.
And some guys took steady jobs within the industry too. Like Joe did that. He worked Monday to Friday, and he took Saturday, Sunday off.
Right.
But it was a job that he liked doing, and he wanted to work just in Surrey Fraser.
Mm-hmm.
And he did that for a few years. Yeah.
Right.
So there was an option too. Yeah.
Right. But you got to go on lots of vacations?
We did.
Yeah.
We did, yeah.
Yeah. And was that must have been fun for the kids growing up and getting to,
yeah.
Was it, where did you go?
We didn't go 12 times while the kids were small. We probably went, I don't know, they probably went about 3 or 4 times to Disneyland, and we went to Hawaii a couple of times.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah. We had vacations, so we just sort of, that was part of it. By me working, you see, there's always that extra.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you were able to get away at certain times.
But also we have a place up at Tulameen that we have a house up there. And many times, we'd go up there and Jerry'd come home and work for a few days and then come back up again. And so, quite a lot of the time we'd be on separate we'd be on holidays, but he wouldn't necessarily be there.
Right.
And then he went through all the union offices too. So, he was vice president and president and on the committees.
Wow.
And so, if they're negotiating, then there was no summer vacation. You had to be at the meetings and stuff. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So it's all kind of dependent upon what job you're doing and what's going on with the union.
But for Jerry, that was perfect because there was so many variations of jobs. He never was bored.
Yeah.
Never was bored.
Lots of change.
Yeah.
Lots of change. Well, it's good to have a little something different every once in a while.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah.
Did Jerry have a travel card? I know some longshoremen got to work in different ports in California.
No, I know that Joe did that, but Jerry never did it. No. I don't know. I don't think we ever really sort of considered it.
Yeah.
I think Joe didn't do it with his family, but his dad did it.
Oh, I see.
And they went down to California and worked, and I don't know if that option was available to us at that time.
So, did anyone in Jerry's family work as a longshoreman?
No.
No, he was the first person?
Yeah. Joe's dad worked down there, and Joe's dad got Jerry to go down.
Oh, so was he a member son?
Joe was a member's son.
Oh, sorry, Joe. Okay.
And so
yeah.
Jerry was, just a friend, so he got in just a little bit later than they did. But yeah.
Seems
Yeah.
like so many of them come in that way.
Oh yeah, yeah. And then my son worked down there, and my brother-in-law and my son-in-law.
It's funny. It's kind of like teachers. If you find like a teacher's family, sometimes there's so many teachers in
or
one
nurses.
family. It kind of
Nurses
seems-
go down, and teachers go down. And,
Yeah.
Oh, we did.
Oh, Spidey. Whew. He's okay. These guys are harmless.
I don't allow them in the house.
Oh my. You want to squish him? Squish him with my own.
There
we go.
let's get them off the
Problem
table.
solved. Ooh, there was a big one in my room last night, actually. They started
Oh,
to
I don't
come
like
out
the
or
big ones.
somewhere.
Jerry has to take them out.
Oh, God, I know. Yes. So you worked in a union as well. Was the Longshoremen's Union, like we've been talking a lot about the culture of the union, that kind of thing, was your union, did you find it to be a different union experience than the ILWU?
Oh, I wish we'd had the power of the ILWU.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But you sensed it was a less powerful, maybe less strong.
Only because there was
union.
women in more women in our and they don't stand up for their rights the way that men do. If the men say, okay, that's a problem, we're not working till you fix it, they all stand back and they will.
Okay.
Where women will say, well, I don't, they'll fix it, and the company's been good to me, and they don't realize the company really wouldn't have given them half of the stuff if the union hadn't gone in and fought for it.
Right.
Was the union mostly women because it was mostly women who did those type of jobs?
No, there was in a telephone workers union. There was different divisions. There was the men's department, and that would be all the installers and guys that worked, engineers, etc.
Technical things.
Yeah, and then the commercial, which was the service rep group, and then traffic, which was the operators. So there was 3 different divisions, and so the TW covered all 3 of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the commercial, would that have been mostly women there?
That's
the customer
mostly
service?
women, but it isn't anymore.
Okay.
No,
Oh, wow.
it's not anymore. Probably there's a lot of men gone into what was traditionally a woman's job. Same way as women have gone into longshore.
Sure. Absolutely.
I think maybe if I'd been younger, maybe I would have done that. It never appealed to me. But
You could have, yeah.
Yeah.
But at the time you went in, I guess, did each section of the union have its own sort of leadership figures that?
Well, you had one president,
One,
and then
okay.
you had people from each department.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And they made up sort of their your, what's the word I'm looking for? Your delegates sort of
yeah.
thing, and so everything. There might be some things that's specific to the traffic department, and certain things are specific for the men, and it was. I think I don't know if they're what they do now because it's been a number of years since I've been there. So
Right.
yeah.
Oh, that's very...
But at one point in time, we were kind of fighting for seniority because they adjusted our seniority date all the time if you worked part-time. So you worked 20 hours a week, you got 20 hours seniority.
Mm-hmm.
And so we put up with it for a little while, and then we thought, well, this is stupid because everybody else is getting Saturday, Sunday, and if they took days off, it never counted against them. But
Yeah.
yet we were. So we went in and we used a couple of clauses out of the Postal Workers Union, the Longshoremen's Union, and because if they work temporary, they got full seniority.
Right.
Nobody adjusted. The whole union movement is built on seniority date.
Yeah.
So we won it.
Oh, good.
We did. Yeah.
And were you involved in that? Or?
I was part of the committee that won it.
Oh, wow,
So
good for
excited.
you.
Yeah.
Good for you. And so you were looking to these other unions that had taken a stronger stance, I guess, on certain things.
Yeah.
And did that sort of influence the way
It
that
did.
you approached that?
We did a study on it, and then we took their clauses out of their contract and put it together in a booklet form to let them know where the inconsistencies were, because it was basically an inconsistent type of a thing.
Sure, yeah.
I think the guys did it that way because they didn't want part-time work to come in.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
Okay.
that they basically, with the help of some of the senior women, I think, the guys really tried to make the part-time work as not as desirable, because they didn't want the company turning around and using all part-time workers.
Okay.
Which,
Right.
if you look at today's industry, it's probably a smart move at the time.
To protect themselves a little bit
Exactly,
from that
yeah.
casualization.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And would the part-time workers at the time that you were doing those negotiations, would those have been mostly women? Like, would it have been mostly customer service type people who would have been part-time? Or?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty much the only department that had
Part-time workers. Okay.
And then they went to job sharing. They did allow job sharing after a while too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
Which is, job sharing is good because it's one job and it never becomes anything but one job.
Right.
And it's just two people decide how they're going to split it up, whether somebody works Monday, Tuesday, and the other one works Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or how they work it.
Right.
There he goes.
I know, there he goes.
Did you see the outsourcing happening? Just before
No,
you
that's
left?
after I
Yeah,
left.
yeah.
That's after I left. I left while it was still, I think it was like 6 months after it changed from being BC Tel to TELUS.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I could see the writing on the
Remember that.
wall, and I thought, I don't think I want to work for this.
Yeah.
Because they changed what was a really good, interesting job into a high-pressure sales.
Yeah.
Did you worked it?
No, but just through my experience listening to sales representatives
Yeah.
and just even asking for help, they'll still try to sell you these things. And,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You know, they have quotas and there's
Yeah.
like surveillance, like the managers listening
They,
on
they
the
listen in
line.
on their
Yeah.
your calls, and you know, it was all stuff I was not used
Yeah,
to.
it seems really, really high stress now.
Yeah, very high stress. And then they took, I worked in the Wally office, which was for me very convenient. You know, most of my career I worked in the Wally office.
Mm-hmm.
And then they took all these jobs and moved them into Burnaby. So then you got to cross a bridge to go to work.
Oh, yeah. It makes all the difference in the world if
You
there's
know,
a bridge between you and where you're trying
If
to
you
get
can
to.
stay away from the bridges, you're happy.
I think so, yeah, I think so. Even I work on Annacis Island now actually, but I just work up Nordale Hill. I have to get over the Alex Fraser Bridge to get there though.
Yeah.
And so you never know how long it's going to take me, 10 minutes or
Yeah.
is it going to take me 40? I'm never sure. But, yeah.
But you got to come from this side, because my daughter-in-law, she comes from the other side to Anasis.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It's pretty quick.
Yeah, oh it is, yeah. If
And
you're
then she
going
comes.
against-
She works 7 to 3, which so she avoids all the
Yeah,
crap.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, there's Jerry.
Hi, Jerry. And you mentioned did your son go into longshoring as well,
I
or work
did,
on the
yeah,
waterfront,
yeah.
and into the ILWU and became a member? And
He unfortunately passed away just before he
oh, I'm
reached
sorry to hear that.
into the
Hi,
Hey, Jerry, how are you?
it's fine.
It's good.
Still rolling on, are you?
We are, yeah.
Ganged up on her.
We might need you to kill a spider eventually, though. We've got one who's
We're gonna
crawling
go-
up the
oh,
walls
there
up
it
there.
Leave my spiders alone.
Fiona tells us they're not allowed in the house.
Well, I don't know.
I'm not sure those are spiders. They're some kind of critter, but I'll evict it after.
All right.
I just put them outside.
Oh my. Oh my. Well, were you happy to have your kids kind of go into similar sort of work as what Jerry did?
Yeah,
And-
my son, it was a perfect job for him.
yeah.
He had attention deficit disorder, so for him that was the right kind of a job to get into, where you're always doing different
Doing
things
different,
and yeah.
Lots of action.
Yeah, he would have been a member in September and he died in April, so it just,
Oh, no.
yeah.
Oh,
So,
that's too bad. And
Mhm.
just before becoming a member.
just before.
And do they have like when members pass away? Do they have any type of like union-wide memorial, that kind of thing for them, or when?
Generally, if there's a funeral and for the union, they have a thing where they go to the funeral and they wear their jacket, and they stand in the back of the church.
Oh yeah.
So it's just a sign of recognition.
And
I don't know if
respect
it
for the
still
worker.
is the same, but when it was a smaller union, that's the way it was.
Yeah, you wonder that now because it's so much bigger. You hear, and I feel like from talking to longshoremen now that there's less of a community sense.
Very
to it,
much less, yeah. Very much less.
Yeah.
Yeah, some longshoremen have said that since everything's automated and mechanized, you know, there's not more like group interaction, you know, working in gangs, where you have to talk to each other and communicate.
Like Jerry was brought up in the gang system where you went into a gang and they taught you all the different jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Now they have training for it, but you're always on your own. So
Right, and you lose that maybe sense of mentorship from
you
the
do,
older
and also the
guys.
older guys, they were around when a lot of the things were fought for, and these
Sure.
the younger ones have gone in and they're
Don't know the history.
this is kind of nice.
Yeah.
Boy, this company's really good to me.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned as well some of the women in your union would have thought, oh, well, the company's really nice
They
to us
always said
because
that.
look at these benefits that we've got.
They
And
always
then
said that, yeah.
You must have been very cognizant of the fact that, well, the reason why you got a
No,
lot of...
they didn't give it to you.
Yeah. Did you
You
feel
know.
like you had more of a cognizance of the importance of unions just as a result of being sort of involved
Very
with the
much so.
ILWU? And-
Very much so, and that's why they sort of tried to, they did talk me into becoming a shop steward because
Oh, good.
they knew the background, you know.
That you came from sort of a strong union.
You come from a strong
culture,
union
yeah.
background. My daughter now works as a manager for TELUS,
Oh, okay.
Wow.
but she comes from a strong union
Right,
background
sure.
too, and she said it helps her because she can look at the contract and see what's in it.
Yeah.
She doesn't ignore the fact that there is a contract. She says it's difficult, but it still gives her that background.
Are they
Yeah.
still unionized there at TELUS?
Yeah, but they really got just they took a bath the last time
Oh,
that there
no.
was a
Negotiation, or-
negotiations. Yeah.
Yeah. And so you were involved in one of the negotiations, which was about part-time work.
Yeah.
Were you involved, and you were a shop steward as well, were you
Yeah.
involved sort of the whole time that you were working in union business?
No,
or-
I gave it up after a while because I just found it was too much negative stuff.
Mm.
You know, because you spend, I always say you spend 90% of your time as a shop steward looking after 5% of the people.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the same faces over and over again. Do you not, don't you learn?
Yeah.
You can't come in late every third day.
Oh, God.
You can't take every Monday off with the flu.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. And did you enjoy doing the union work while
I
you did,
did.
other than the troublemakers?
I did it first because it was interesting, and I had been at my job for long enough that I was starting to get a little bit bored with it, and so this got me out and about and going to different offices and sort of learning some stuff that I hadn't known before,
Right.
Yeah.
And did you find, so the experience was useful then, too?
The experience was useful, yeah, it was.
Learning how things work, I guess, as well, like your daughter had mentioned. Just
Yeah.
reading the contract, so few people probably ever look at it.
Once you go into management, it's like, the union book is for the union people,
Yeah.
but we can do what we like.
Right.
But she didn't, and she finds that hard too when they have that kind of,
Mentality.
yeah.
Mm.
But,
Right. Well, at least
So
she's,
she followed me into TELUS, and Carrie followed Jerry into Longshoring.
Oh, yeah. That's so funny.
So would Jerry tell Carrie about the importance of union, and would you tell them about the history of maybe how the longshoremen, how they fought, how they strike, and
Battle of
stuff like that?
Valentine.
Yeah.
That's the one we always hear
Yeah.
about.
Oh, yeah. It was pretty, when you come from a union background, it's,
Sure.
all these things are just, they come up in everyday conversation,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Absolutely. So it was very much a part of the atmosphere, I guess, in your home and
Mhm.
your lives, and everyone's too,
Yeah,
probably Joe's and Elaine's and
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
And if the sons were kind of going in behind their dads, would they all like socialize together and go to the pub after work, or was there kind of an intergenerational socialization going on?
Yeah,
at all?
I know that Kerry, he had his group of friends, and most of them were longshoremen too.
Right.
Because you work with them all the time, and you're down in the hall waiting for a job, and you get to know them all. And,
Yeah.
So he had a fair number of friends that worked within the union.
Oh yeah.
Well, they were all casuals.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
weren't in the union, but they would have been, you know.
Yeah, and maybe talking about being casual and when are you gonna
Yeah.
get in and be a member
Yeah,
and how long
what
have
board
you
are you on, and where's the plate, and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. 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 Similar experiences, I guess, kind of draw people
Yeah.
together
Yeah.
as well.
Yep.
So, your son, did he go after high school to?
Pretty
longshoring?
much. He kind of, like, as I said, he had an attention deficit disorder, so sometimes he was gone somewhere, or he went back to Alberta and worked there for a little while.
Oh, yeah.
And
Like up north or
Fort McMurray,
Okay,
and he also at one point in time was selling used cars, but you know, he always came back to longshoring, and at the end he basically just stuck with the longshoring. So
yeah.
yeah,
And he enjoyed the longshoring then maybe,
I think so. I think
Yeah.
he liked it. Yeah,
and the ability to switch up the jobs that he's doing maybe
yeah,
kind of appealed
yeah.
to him as well.
And you know, when he died, there was the life insurance, so his son is looked after. You
Oh,
know.
good.
Yeah, and they also pay for. His son was only a year and a half when he died,
Oh.
so. But his medical and dental is paid for till he's 18,
Oh wow.
That's great.
and there was a lump sum in life insurance which covers his monthly costs. You know,
Okay.
for looking
And did
after
did any of that come from the union in terms of someone who wasn't yet a member but was just about to become a member? Like how would he have been handled there?
Well, you pay for life insurance. It's part of they're all entitled to life insurance,
Sure, yeah.
whether you're in the union or not. He was on A board, which gives you all of the benefits.
Oh yeah.
If he was on a lower board, he probably wouldn't have got the benefits that he
Right.
did. But he was, like I say, he was within months of going into the union,
wow.
and because he was in that part, then he got life insurance
Yeah.
yeah, I mean they never married, but his girlfriend it really helps her that
Yeah, I
all
bet.
that his prescriptions, everything is paid for. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. How old is your grandson now?
He's 8 now. Well, he'll be
Oh,
8
okay.
in August. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's doing well and
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She's doing just great. She's in training right now to taking courses to become an accountant. So
Oh,
oh
that's
wow.
great.
Good
she
for
was
her, yeah.
she was going to go. She had her name down. They had a draw for longshoring.
Oh
And
yeah.
Thank goodness her name didn't get drawn,
Oh wow.
because her dad's a longshoreman as well.
Oh, okay.
And we thought, we really didn't want her down there, but didn't say. We sort of said, well, whatever you want.
Sure. How
But
come you
I-
didn't want her to work down there?
Well, because it's a bunch of guys, and it's hard work, and it's physical, and she's got a child.
Sure.
So you try working, okay, today you're going to work days, and tomorrow you're going to work afternoons, and maybe 2 days you're not going to
Right.
work, and
Right.
and daycare only covers you to 6 o'clock.
Yeah, oh yeah. Mm-hmm. And then
So
you're
that's not an option. So when she had this opportunity, she works at this company, and they really liked her, and they said if she'd take the courses, and guaranteed her 2 years, 2 years after,
mm-hmm.
that if she passed each course, then they'll pay for the courses.
Oh yeah.
That's fantastic.
It is fantastic.
Those are
And,
great programs.
Yeah. So like I said to her, I said, this is the best job for you, because at any point in time, even if you meet someone, get married, and are staying home, you can still do taxes, and you can do accounting work, and you can do it from home
Freelance
and still
stuff,
make money. Yeah.
For sure.
Where with longshoring, it's just totally different. So
Yeah. And
I
it
was-
would be much, I guess it would be much more limiting or harder to be a longshoreman if you were a single parent, a single dad, or a single mom.
parent. Yeah. I know
Yeah.
single parents down there, and it's tough. Because of the daycare situation.
Sure.
Yeah.
I guess a lot of the time they, like just thinking about yours and Jerry's experience as well with your kids, you sort of, I guess as the longshoreman, depend on the family unit in order
Yeah.
to still be running and functioning and stuff, even
Yeah.
if you're not there at uncertain times,
Yeah.
maybe afternoons, maybe mornings, and
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
And
So,
like for Sarah, if he's signed up for soccer, then she's supposed to be there on Saturday morning when he's playing soccer. Well,
yeah.
chances are she's going to be working on a Saturday, because it's time and a half
Big
or
day,
double
yeah.
time or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
So, yeah,
Well, it's great that she got into the accounting program. Though.
Yes.
She's-
yeah. So
That's
she just written a big exam, so she's waiting for her results.
Ooh.
But she's an A student, so you know,
Good for her.
she's gonna do well, but she worries about it. But,
Right.
yeah.
So, did you notice more and more women do longshoring from?
Way more than what
Way more,
used to
yeah.
be. Yeah, way more than. You know, that's still a relative term. You know,
Yeah.
because for a long time they fought against women going into the union.
The union guys did?
Well, not the people who were involved in the union, but
Just the general maybe
the men.
membership
You know, it's a
feeling
man
that-
thing.
Yeah, yeah,
I have to support a family. Well, so do you.
Yeah. right.
Yeah.
And so they were worried about maybe feeling like they were the breadwinners, or they should be the breadwinners, and if women came in, then women were going to take up the spots of...
It was back in the day where they always thought women worked for pin money, right?
Mhm.
The husband supported them, but they worked for the extras.
Right,
And it wasn't the truth, because a lot of the women I worked with were the primary wage earners in
oh
TELUS.
wow,
A lot of them. I would
Right.
say at least 30% of the women that I worked with
hmm
were either single parents or primary wage earners. They're the ones who had the benefits, the health insurance, etc.
right,
Their husbands might be working, but they never knew if they'd be working next year or next month or whatever.
right. And you said that even if Jerry didn't have work for a week or something, you sort of depended on the
At
money that
least-
you brought
yeah,
in
yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
So-
And so how did that go over with, how did they sort of move towards allowing more women into the ranks of the union? Did you know how that went down, or?
I think it probably would have come eventually, but what's Pierre Elliott Trudeau's little rights? I forget what they call it.
The Bill,
Anyway.
the Bill of Rights?
Bill of Rights. Yeah. And basically they were forced into it through the government ruling or whatever.
Right, so they had to get used to it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I don't think it didn't go in it didn't go in well, but now that there are women in there, they're the ones who stuck with it, because lots of women went in, and then there was lots of them that dropped out,
Yeah.
because it's not a job that's easy.
Mm-hmm.
Like my sister-in-law went into it, and she only lasted about 3 years, and she she got out of it. But my niece is just she's been in the same length of time as Rod, my son-in-law,
Mm-hmm.
and she's doing great. She's got an apprenticeship as an electrician now down in the
Right,
waterfront.
yeah, you were telling me that.
Yeah,
That's
so
super.
fabulous job. So even if she left the waterfront, she'd be an electrician.
Yeah.
Right. That's great. Yeah, we'll have to talk to her actually.
Hmm I will get
Jerry
her
was
phone
saying
number.
that she was interested, in talking
Yeah.
to us, because it would be interesting to hear how she's found that experience of being a young woman in the
She's
longshoring
tough.
business. And
She's-
she must be. I was thinking that. Yeah, they must be, because you were mentioning too that it's a world of men.
It's a
as
world
well,
of men, and you have to be physically strong to do the starting out jobs.
Right.
Because if you're not pulling your weight, then you're gonna have trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are a lot of weak guys too. Remember,
Yeah.
but for women, they don't have that upper body strength.
Yeah. And you would think, I guess we'll ask her about this if we talk to her, but you'd think you might be worried if you couldn't do a job, you might be worried about kind of, the woman can't do the work. And
I think there's a
that
certain
kind of-
amount of that, but they just, you have to let that roll off.
Right.
Yeah.
She'd be interesting to talk to, because she's stuck it out and gotten lots of training, and she'd be kind of the newer generation as to what
Sure.
it is. She never worked on the New Westminster waterfront
Right.
because it was gone by then. But yeah,
Right. No, I think we'll try to talk to her, and then I was thinking my friend Tony as well. He's not in New West either, but he is out of 502, and so
Oh, yeah.
I think it would still
so
be
Longshore
worthwhile
Hall
to,
is now in Surrey. So
Yeah. Yeah, I think it would still be worthwhile to look at people like that. And
yeah,
kind of
to see what it's
generational
like now.
differences.
And
yeah.
Joe's son, Paul, he works down there too.
Oh, does he? Eh?
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh. And do you guys still go out to the union picnics and Christmas parties?
We
and all
haven't
that?
for a number of years, only because we're usually in Tulameen when it's
yeah.
done. We go to West Shore has a retirees dinner in the spring every year, so
Oh,
we
yeah.
go to that. And West Shore has a Christmas party every year, and we go to that.
Okay.
It's beautiful. It's a lovely dinner dance.
Oh, nice. Is that
Beautiful.
just for retirees as
Just
well?
for
or-
retirees from West Shore.
From West Shore.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So it's still you still have an opportunity to be involved in kind of
Oh
the
yeah,
social
if we wanted to
scene
go
and-
to the picnics, we could
You'd go.
go. You know,
Yeah.
my daughter-in-law takes. I call her my daughter-in-law. She's not, but you know, she
Your
takes
de facto
yeah.
daughter-in-law. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, she takes Caden to it all the time, and
Oh,
yeah,
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's lots of fun for the kids. Lots of fun for the kids.
Yeah.
They used to when our kids were small. They used to have horses. They could ride horses, or,
Oh, wow.
all the rides were free, and yeah.
Lots of
I think
food.
that they kind of narrowed it down a bit now. It's probably not quite as grand as it used to be.
Yeah.
But it was very much a family picnic thing.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
And did you kind of get along with everyone, stuff like that, or was there like a group of friends that you had that were
Pretty
closer?
much. You'd have your own. You'd go with your own group. You know,
Yeah.
there's lots of different groups, and yeah.
Yeah.
But the union was smaller then, and we sort of knew everybody.
Sure.
It was different. Yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting. That's the first we've heard of the picnics.
Oh,
So I'm
yeah.
excited to
Yeah.
hear
Yeah,
about that.
and I think West Shore does a golf tournament as well.
Oh yeah.
And I think they also have a picnic, some kind of they have a picnic out at in Delta somewhere. But 502 does theirs at Cultus Lake, so
Oh yeah.
yeah.
And they go to Cultus Lake still, or
As far as I
Yeah.
know,
Traditions alive.
yeah, yeah.
That's great. Wow. And so, did you and Jerry, moving towards the end of your careers, I guess, did you retire at about the same time, or?
No, I retired earlier because Jerry had the freedom to sort of come and go as he wanted,
Mm-hmm.
and I was very much restricted. And you know, once I had 25 years, I was guaranteed a pension, so.
Oh yeah.
We talked about it and said, let's, you know, so I took retirement at age 55, and
Mhm.
that way if we wanted to go somewhere, he'd just phone in the hall and say, I won't be coming in, you know, or he was working at West Shore then. He'd just take some time off and away we'd go.
Yeah.
So for the last 10 years or so, we've traveled pretty, freely because I'm not restricted by any time, because you've only got so many vacation days and so many ATO days, and
Yeah, absolutely.
and they're like gold,
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes, they are. Yeah.
Then you don't want to use them up if because there's a chance you might get to better vacation or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Jerry was still able to pick up work.
Well, he was working. He
From
always
here to
worked
there,
steady for
yeah.
for the last many years. I don't know how many years he worked at West Shore. Once he started working there, he had 7 weeks vacation, and
Wow.
you
That's great. Yeah.
yeah.
Super. Well, I think maybe we'll let you go with that, and we'll
All right.
move on to, speaking of Jerry, we'll move on to Jerry. But thanks so much for speaking
No
with us, Fiona.
problem.
That was
Yeah.
great.